Hello, I'm Alex Byrne. I'm State Librarian of New South Wales, following a career in university libraries and university administration across Australia, many parts of Australia, especially tropical areas, and of course leadership positions in IFLA. And it's interesting to think about the things that rather had turned out in other ways. And one that comes to mind for me is when I was at Northern Territory University, where I led the creation of a new university library building designed by Cox, Richardson and Associates. It was a wonderful new building at the fulcrum of the campus, set a new standard in library construction in the Northern Territory, and particularly a new building standard for the university. A very important building, both symbolically and architecturally. It was designed to be built in 2 stages. The first stage was built and occupied and worked very well, particularly responded to the needs of Indigenous students. We were very pleased with it. The second stage was supposed to be constructed a few years later. I forget exactly how many, perhaps 5. And when that came around, the university didn't have so much money. They had a growing demand for accommodation for international students, and so it was proposed that it be deferred. And because I understood the need to bring in international students, I agreed with that and didn't fight it. And I think now, some 15 years later, when the second stage still hasn't been built, that was a mistake, that I really should have fought for the library, even though I understood the other needs of the university. The second thing that comes to mind is more personal and also more painful, where I was seriously bullied by a very senior member of the university. I was a senior member, but my boss, who was more senior, had a narcissistic personality, continues to have that, as I hear from others. I can't identify the person or the institution for obvious reasons. I don't want to be got for defamation. But in that case, I tried to talk to the human resources people about it, who didn't want to know because the person was so senior. And so I suffered it and tried to protect other people from it, and ultimately it contributed to me leaving the institution. It wasn't the only reason, but it did contribute. And I regret really that I didn't put in a formal complaint, that really as a senior person, even though I know how painful formal complaints can be, I should have put that in and gone through with it. I think that's often the aspects with people that are the hardest. Another one that comes to mind is applying for a job which I didn't get, and investing a lot of energy in thinking myself into the job and getting ready for the interview and all that we all do. And I heard very soon after, in fact immediately afterwards, that I didn't get it, and was naturally disappointed, having put so much into it. But as I thought more about it, I thought about the wisdom of the people on the panel, at least on that occasion, because it really wasn't the right job for me. I'm a very practical sort of person. I like to see things delivered. I like to work on things. And this was a job where you very much have to work through others, and the chances of achieving definite outcomes were fairly limited. I'm much better off as a hands-on librarian. I still work very much in policy, still do a lot of governance issues, very much work through others, particularly in a large organisation like the State Library with some 360 staff. But I can see results. Every day I can see results, sometimes small, sometimes very big. And to me that's satisfying. And so that was something where I misjudged it. I went for a job probably for the wrong reasons, and people were wise enough to see through me and not give it to me. So in many ways, as a career goes on, you see that things don't turn out as you want. Sometimes you're disappointed, sometimes for the better, sometimes leaving regrets.